So, like us, the ancient Jews believed in a fall of angels, so fallen ones, fallen sons of God. There was various views about that, but much is written about that in the book of Enoch, or the book of First Enoch. Enoch was a very highly valued person in history for them. Some even thought he was more than Moses, because he was, Enoch was, and then he was not, because he walked with God, and then he was not, and he prophesied and had greater knowledge and all these other things. So he was very valued, and the books of Enoch were very valued, and obviously Jude thought it was highly valued, to quote him, and Peter and the rabbis of the day and most of the peers. The worldview included the book of Enoch. So a lot of those stories are taken out of there. Now, traditionally, there's a couple different views. One view is that, there was civil war in heaven, Satan rebelled, Satan fell, took a third of the angels with him, and now he marshals them and tries to get back at God as the ultimate terrorist. One day he will be fully defeated and spend the rest of eternity in punishment. Then there's another view that there was that rebellion, yes, and then there was a secondary fall, which we read about in Genesis 6, 1-4, which the angels of God, or the sons of God, saw the women on earth. So there was a falling there, because they went after the women on earth because they were attracted to them. So the first fall was like this fall out of pride. Second fall was one out of lust. And Jude kind of brings them and melds them together in a sense, and says pride and lust, this is what these false teachers are doing. And if the angels of God were punished, how much more should we be worried that, there's punishment awaiting humans too then, if we're not going to be following God's way, but full of pride and lust. And so the passage that Jude writes in, he says, woe to them, these false teachers, woe to them, for they walked in the way of Cain. Well, the way of Cain was murderous, for one thing, but also proudful and rebellious, and he didn't bring the first fruits. It was in the course of time that he brought some offering to God. It was just a bad heart. They walked in the way of Cain, and they abandoned themselves for the sake of gain to Balaam's error. Balaam was a prophet who wanted money for his prophecies, so he was lusting after money, greed, and or perished in Korah's rebellion. Again, Korah was proudful, rebellion against Moses, and they thought they could do it better, etc., etc. And he talks about these false teachers, and he says, these are hidden reefs. They're like you smashing your boat against a rock. These are hidden reefs at your love feast, as they feast with you without fear, shepherds feeding themselves, waterless clouds. So they promising some good rain, but they don't bring it. Waterless clouds swept along by winds, winds of doctrine and that kind of thing. Fruitless trees in late autumn, when they should be given fruit, they don't give fruit. Twice dead, he says, uprooted, wild waves of the sea, casting up the foam of their own shame. Wandering stars, for whom the gloom of utter darkness has been reserved forever. That's another pointer to these sons of God, the stars, they've called them the morning stars, etc., that sang, and these stars that are reserved for ultimate darkness. So all these things point to. Now, for the modern mind, these things are just like way out there. They're like, really, angels coming down, being attracted to the women of the earth and going, hey, I want some of that. And then they, all the rest is like, it seems so hard to believe. Well, that's a little odd, because as Christians, we also believe in the incarnation. We believe that Jesus, fully God, came down to earth and became fully man, born through a virgin's birth canal into this earth, had to learn how to walk and talk, had to learn how to eat with a spoon, had to learn how to go through puberty, had to learn all these things and work with his earthly dad and all that stuff. That's pretty unbelievable. That's pretty outrageous. That's pretty mind-blowing to me, that Jesus, fully God, would come to this earth in a redemption story to save the likes of me. That is mind-blowing. far greater than the idea, the concept that some angels might come down and go, I really like that lady over there. That's not so mind-blowing to me. Anyway, Jude, again, he's sort of putting these two stories together and saying these pride and lust together, it's just deadly combination. Let's not walk in these things. And he's given fair warning. Jude is saying, like, man, just as those angels were punished, we could be punished. There's a heavy price to pay for pride. There's a heavy price to pay for lust. Together, these things create huge problems in your life. They will kill. They will kill you. It doesn't really matter in the long run where Jude was getting his info from, the ancient books that he happened to value and many people valued of the day. His warning is still very valid. Don't be getting some attitude that says, you know better than God. Woe to you if you get that attitude. We don't know better than God. We are puny human beings, and he came for us because he loves us. So stay the course on that one, and don't get proudful. Don't get greedy. Don't be lustful. Walk in holiness and humility before God.